All right, it's the end of May right now, and this is just a little update in the Benghazi thing, because I got the little playlist for Benghazi, and it's the end of May, and all these three scandals are breaking out across Washington, and I thought it was important that I reiterate for everybody that new that comes along and looks just the most recent video, what's going on here, and to clear something up, I haven't said it exactly this way before, because in this Benghazi thing, we get all kinds of conjecture about this stand down order we know that was given now for sure. According to Ambassador Hicks, who saw the Lieutenant Colonel get the order in Tripoli for his team to stand down. And the fact that not one military unit anywhere across the Mediterranean, Europe, the FES team, which is designed to deal with this kind of crap, not an F-16 on the airstrips of Aviano, which didn't need a refueling tanker, by the way. It could have stopped at Sigonella on the way there and back. We got people there. It's where the drones were flying out of. So you could have got an F-16 there. But not one of those assets moved. And in fact, things that were there that were a paltry measure compared to what was actually needed. Like that team that got the stand-down order. Who gave that order? Oh, well, it wasn't Obama. It wasn't him. Well, where was Obama when our ambassador was under siege? When men were dying? The commander-in-chief, their boss, the man who's supposed to guide our troops and give us orders when we go somewhere and do battle. Where was he? What was he doing? But that's irrelevant. Because that stand-in order, well, they can play it off. They're going to try to whenever it does come out, well, he didn't actually give the order. It's not their fault or his fault that these guys died. Do you think for 1 second that when he was briefed by Panetta, when it all started, even if he didn't show his face the rest of the freaking night, that he did not lay out some guidelines or parameters that order was given under or within those parameters? Don't frickin' play yourself for a chump. Don't play me for a chump. Mr. President, don't play the American people for idiots. You're the commander-in-chief. Whoever gave that stand-in order was giving that order under preset conditions or under direction, that whether it was given at that moment or earlier in the evening, or was giving that order within a certain set of parameters that the president gave out or established. Period. Period. No questions asked. And if he didn't, and his government, the military arm of it, is operating completely separate of him, that's even worse. That means he has no control. People don't listen to him, make decisions on their own, don't inform him, and that's even worse. Even worse than him being a sack of shit is him being an incompetent sack of shit. I mean, let's call it for what it is. I mean, let's not sugarcoat the thing. I mean, they're trying to do that already. So let's just put it out. One thing worse than a sack of shit is an incompetent sack of shit. I'd rather have a sack of shit that knew he was a sack of shit, because at least if you do a damn good job at being a sack of shit. Competent sack of shit. Sack will probably break, spill the shit everywhere. What use is that? I don't know what use is a sack of shit, but either way, the point being and is that he is completely culpable. All this other stuff we're fiddle fucking about in the Congress over who knew what when and all this stuff. No, he's guilty. He's the president. He should have control of this. Where the fuck was he? When those men were dying, where was that man? What was he doing? What was his, excuse for not sending some kind of backup for them? For not putting something in action? For not sending somebody at some point from somewhere to give these guys at some point in time, whenever it got there, some help. Where was he? What was going on? And why was he not at those boys' backs saying, you know what? I got you. From thousands of miles away. In some way, shape, or form. I got you. People, men, some barely men, boys at high school, go around this world, fight and die for this country, and ask one thing, that we don't get left out to dry, that they don't get hung out to get wrung out by the enemy, that when the shit hits the fan, when the metal hits the meat, America's got your back. And you all got each other's back right there. Band of brothers. Your country stands behind you. The mighty roar of an F-16. The boom of a cannon on a tank. A shoot. Followed by another shoot. Followed by lots of other shoots. Coming to back you up out of the back of a helicopter. Out of a CH-46 Chinook. Those are promises that should be kept. Mr. Obama did not honor those promises. He took Navy SEALs with families. Yeah, they weren't Navy SEALs anymore. They're former ex, whatever you want to call it. You know what though? Just a Marine. Once a Navy SEAL, once a Marine. Always Navy SEAL, always a Marine. And especially with guys like that who are, you know, true to the core. Hardcore guys. Down for the brothers in this country. And they were left. It's true, maybe we couldn't have stopped Ambassador Stevens from getting killed, and, you know, Sean Scott. We should have been able to. We should have had plans set up. We should have had people closer. We should have been prepared, and we were not. And to their families, this country owes a debt that they cannot repay, because that debt is their son's life. And it's something we can't get back. You, the president, you have given that debt to this country. There's our debt, but the blood is on your hands. Now we hear all this other conjecture about how nothing was initiated because it couldn't have got there in time. Well, let me say this. How do you know that? Were you in cahoots with the enemy? Were you talking to the freaking Ansar al-Sharia dudes? The Al-Qaeda buddies running around? Were you talking to them? Were they your buddies too? Because the only way that you can say to me, well, we couldn't have gotten there in time, is if you were talking to terrorists and corroborating with them and you knew how long the attack was going to last because they told you. Otherwise, you had no clue. And that means you're not pressing go because of that reason, because you didn't think it would be there in time. It's not an excuse. What if that shit went on for 2 freaking days? And all of them died. What if they got ambushed at the airport and got pinned down, couldn't get in the plane because you stand down and ordered the freaking team to go secure the airport? So when they got there, they weren't met by a freaking mob of freaking AK toting little fucking motherfuckers jumping around. What about that? They wouldn't have gotten there in time. It's not an excuse. It's not even a freaking good excuse. It's not even a reasonable thing to say. It's a completely dishonest, misleading thing that has no factual basis for even being a fucking statement worth being noted in this conversation. You should be ashamed for thinking we're that stupid. Because it's obvious that I'm not. I'm going to make damn sure anybody who watches this knows that too. Because they're going to see me say it. And I tell everybody I meet. So let's go over this one more time. What was Ambassador Stevens doing there real quick? Just real fast here. Go over the facts. Well, first, let's start at the beginning. We're in Libya in a war that we did not get congressional approval for. So when Obama said the other day at that little defense speech, whatever, it was supposed to be this big speech, it was really a distraction he was trying to make for all these scandals. But it didn't work. It obviously failed. But He said, well, I never went to battle without consent of the Congress. No, you didn't get congressional approval for us to go to Libya. For you to start doing the flyovers and make a, like a little, called a no-fly zone. Okay? You didn't get congressional approval for that. So you got us in a war without asking permission. Secondly, you, without permission again, after that was over, that operation was over, started a covert operation without intelligence committee approval. Again, illegal. 2 times. Constitution violated. 1 conflict. There's more. Don't worry. More than 2. Okay. So now that you're there, okay, and you went to Libya, people dying, but barely anything compared to Syria. There's lots of people dying in Syria, but you don't want to get involved in that. You know why? Because it's not easy. It's not a clean victory. It's going to be messy. So you know what? Because you're a pansy shithead. You don't want to comply your standards about people dying and, genocide or atrocities evenly, just where it's convenient for you to look good. You don't go there. But see, we need to go there. We probably even could have got that battle to be won by the rebels, and got Assad out of power if from the beginning, 2 years ago, just like Iran, we could have gotten involved and made the difference. But no, now look what we got to deal with: nuclear Iran. But Syria, you could have gotten involved when it all started. Before the Al Qaeda jihadis got mixed in and became the only people that were helping them, and so all of a sudden they like the jihadis because they're helping them. And now you see on the news they've even pledged allegiance to Al Qaeda. Our buddy is Al Qaeda. Thank you for helping us out. You bring guns and supplies, and you have good fighters. Thank you. It's like Al Qaeda to them is like CIA advisors are for us. It's like they send them in there to organize and help them attack. Because the Al Qaeda guys are trained. They're a little freaking terrorist platoon. They got it going on. So they come in there, get them all organized, and they're thinking, thank you, Al Qaeda. And it's like, really? So, but see, now you still want to get involved, though. You still want to do something to influence the outcome of this. And, you're over here in Libya now, and you got all these weapons, like these heat-seeking shoulder-fired rockets, which we don't want to get into the hands of anybody bad. Like, in that country, Northern Africa, the Maghreb is full of Al Qaeda wannabes that could take one of these things, because they're all floating loose now because Gaddafi's gone, and go stand outside the freaking United States, an airport in the United States, or any one of our allies, or anywhere in the modern world, where people we like, and fucking fire that thing in a 747 to kill how many hundreds of people? With how much ease? Because you overthrew a dictator who's actually starting to help us, and gave up his nuclear program, which Gaddafi did, because he saw what we did to freaking Saddam, and he's like, oh shit, that sucks. Hey man, I'm your buddy. You mean ratting them? Hey, they're over there. Under the tree. Yeah, right there. Gaddafi was helping us out. Kind of a strange twist of circumstance, because he was the guy who helped with the Lockerbie bombing. But now he's like, hey, this is disadvantageous to a very high degree. Your President Bush, he's crazy. He's coming around all over this region and taking everybody out. I'm on your side now. Don't shoot. But so got a couple hundred people die. We go take that guy out, and look what we got now. It's worse. And the thing is, the point I'm making with all this, now that's worse, there's all these different militias running around, which, by the way, the people who were helping us guard the consulate, they were the Martyr Brigade. February 24th or 27th, Martyr Brigade. We had the people helping us secure our consulate from a group called the Martyr Brigade. Well, that just sounds real smart there. You can call the Martyr Brigade help us secure our consulate, because they don't sound like they could be dangerous to the United States citizens at all. No, that's fucking stupid. That's how dumb what they did is. How dumb this whole situation was. So stupid and fucked up it is. So though, like I said, we got all these rockets running around like Libya, Obama, same, right? No, but Obama, seriously, wants to pick all these things up because he doesn't want to get in the wrong hands, and have that happen. 747 get shut down, leaving an airport. It'd really be that simple. They're decent quality heat-seeking shoulder-fired missiles. So he goes over there, and you got the CIA over there at the annex, in Benghazi, and they're scoping up, picking up weapons. They're taking them from some of the militias, which the militias don't like, and they're doing it by assassinating the leaders of the militias, which they really don't like. That's one of the reasons I think, there's a lot of speculation. Special ops guys, people like myself, and everything like that, we all think that they're part of retaliation for us going in there and killing their leaders, taking their shit and shipping it to Syria. That's what was going on. We were taking these weapons, sometimes from militias, all these rockets, and we were shipping them motherfuckers to Syria. Syria, how are we getting them into Syria? You know, they're surrounded by all these different countries. Well, wait, who was Ambassador Stevens meeting with earlier that evening before the fucking attack commenced? Who was he meeting with? Turkish ambassador. Isn't Turkey right next to Syria? Don't say. Yep. Connect the frickin' dots. It's not that hard. Engage your brain. I think, therefore I will think. Okay? You think. Everybody can think. Doesn't mean everybody does. Think. Connect the dots. Turkish ambassadors are meeting with Stevens, and this is it's obvious. You look at Stevens actually too. He's like the CIA / United States gunrunner. I mean, there's a lot of places he's been where he's been the ambassador, where we're accused of running guns. Never provable necessarily, but you know, he seems to be in the same general vicinity. Another suspicious coincidence. Turkish ambassador. Couldn't be. Government never lies to us. How foolish of me to think that. But, continuing on. So, this is all happening here. No government approval. Twice. Now, first attack happens, right? We've gone over the excuses that they make don't mean shit, right? Probably couldn't have saved Stevens. We should have been able to if we had people there, but we can't. So let's go past that. It's a sad thing, and like I said, Obama's a murderer for it, really. I mean, it's point blank. He's a sack of fucking murdering shit at this point. But that's if you don't even include the American citizens he has grown. I mean, I don't care if they're terrorists. One man does not have the right to kill the person and avoid due process. Sorry. But let's move on. I digress. This attack happens, right? The guys from the annex come over, rescue the people at the consulate, and they say they took heavy fire leaving there and stuff. But really, no, you pull 30 people out of the annex in there and everything. Like you pull, like not 30 was the annex and the consulate combined when they got to the airport that came back from it and the survivors. But you know, you got a good number of people you pull from the consulate. I mean, I think with this major attack, all these rockets and dudes running around the street, somebody would have died, right? You know, I mean, they would have taken another casualty in the escape. They didn't. Which makes me think, you know, this is just my pure speculation from a tactical standpoint, which I know something about, if you ask me. But they had this mortar set up at the annex. Maybe it was a better angle, better shot, better trajectory. Who knows what the fuck? Maybe there's tall buildings near the consulate. I don't know the exact circumstances. There's a lot of reasons why a mortar maybe would be better to shoot at the annex. And it seems sight in too, because first shot went barely long, next shot went barely short, third shot was on the money. That somebody knows what they're doing. And they have a mortar that's bolted to the ground, or it's got a plate bolted to the ground because their shots are being consistent. The mortar's not moving or shaking, it's staying in the same spot. They've dropped the fucking round, and then boom, pops out, but they're going, the thing's not moving, and they're not readjusting it consistently. They're getting accurate fire, which means it's placed. And they got a spotter probably with GPS, the radio, you know, and they're calling the shots it back. They're all short, long, you know, and they're zeroing the thing in. But so it makes sense actually why nobody gets hurt leaving the consulate now in the rescue, because they're letting them leave. Because they want them back at the annex because the mortar's sighted in on the annex. Played into a trap. That's what it seems like to me. But, you know, at this point, the second attack, when the people die, is 7 hours later. They had no excuse for nothing being there at that point in time. They had a new drone overhead that they changed out from the first one for fuel reasons, refueling purposes. Why wasn't the second one armed? They could have armed it. They had the ability to. Don't let anybody tell you they didn't. They did. So, and then even worse, if it was armed, they didn't use it. And that's real sad and fucking disgusting. Having the shit there to help them out and not be having the balls to pull the trigger. Again, another thing that happened, that if it didn't happen, it was like that That's because of parameters and things that Obama set. He's the commander-in-chief. Don't think for a second that he didn't give everybody rules to follow when he went and go fucking to bed that night for Vegas the next day. He said if this happens, okay, then if this is it, there's one or two more die, then we'll start conflict. Trying to get out of this. I mean, that's probably what he said. Something like that. And so if one or two more died, no big deal, nothing happened. Stand on orders, whatever have you. Bullshit. But they could have had people. They could have had F-16s overhead. Because you fly them out of Aviano, Sigonella on the way there. They refuel before they head over to Benghazi. Then they leave Benghazi, and you do that. They got time overhead too. They don't have to come and go. They can stay out, chill out. Some big eyes in the sky. And you start flying them and you fly them at first and close back to back, little fire groups, like maybe 3-4 planes. And after you get a little rotation going, you start spacing it out a little farther, and they're standing over there. They're coming in, and they got the next one behind them are exactly about the amount of time these guys can kick it overhead. You get a rotation going. So you got planes overhead at all times. And really, this whole thing could have been avoided with not even a missile from an F-16. I don't know if any of you have ever stood under an F-16 flying overhead full speed on an afterburner. Let me tell you something. If you don't know what's coming, it will shatter your fucking eardrums. Going Mach plus overhead, 100 feet off the ground, full afterburner. F-16 just so close to the ground, you can see fucking the little dust fucking kind of kicking up on the ground beneath it. 100 feet up off the ground, full afterburner. Those little Taliban, jihadi, durka motherfuckers with a fucking gun, oh shit, man, we're fucking elevator. Holy crap, we're going. We go back to my camel. Let's go, run, quick. We leave. Here's a fucking, they know that they can't dick with that. They know they can't dick with that. They had to fire a round. 2 SEALs still alive. But no. 60 cowards. So, 2 Navy SEALs die now because of the mortar team. Standing orders given. We get into all this now afterwards, where it's the talking points. I don't care about the talking points. I think I made the point to you earlier. I don't care about the talking points. It's his fault no matter what. All the orders and things that happen during the event are because of parameters or restrictions or rules he set for that engagement before he went to bed. Don't fucking, or just didn't give it all. Just said, you know what happens, happens. I'm out of here. In that case, that never bothers him again because he knows the president ain't gonna do nothing. And the president's the one who has to do something. Right there, that just seals it. Nothing's gonna happen. He's guilty, no matter what. Fuck the talking points. I don't care. That just makes it worse. But regardless of talking points, it's his fault. No questions asked. Period. Bar none. End of discussion. Obama's fault. It's in his lap. He murdered those 2 men for sure, because the first 2 maybe we could have done something about, but that's his fault by incompetence, the first 2, but by direct neglect, the second 2. Direct neglect of his duties as president, he killed 2 American citizens. And I dare say that constitutes treason or some sort of freaking other constitutional violation. I mean, I give him 1 free. It's say 3 or 4 violations of the Constitution now. And this includes his neglecting duty of commander-in-chief. 5. I mean, this is sad. And we don't eat the fucking stories they tell us up. And we go get more crazy with the talking points. When the talking points don't matter. His duty as commander-in-chief was neglected. He failed to do it in the honorable fashion in which he is supposed to and demanded to by our laws, and because of that, men died. What more do you need? All this shit in the news is superfluous crap. I don't know why ISA and all these more Graham McCain are buying into. Because it doesn't matter. He neglected his duty. And like I said, one thing worse than a shitbag is an incompetent shitbag. He's a shitbag for letting them die. He's a murderer, just murdering shitbag. But even if he didn't give an order and did nothing, it's like evil exists because good men do nothing. Or because there are bad men that don't care. However you would put it. Even if he did nothing. He's a murderer. He's a default murdering incompetent shitbag. Talking points just go to show that he knows he's a shitbag. And he tried to hide it. Securities Council, which is in the White House, was where that shit always gets hashed out. Every person from any other administration will tell you that's where that shit got decided. Those some talking points. Who was going to parade out in front of the media? Susan Rice. That was all decided right there in the White House. He knew about that too. Let's not even get confused in that. All this stuff about like all this trash. Who did it where? That's bullshit. Again, if it wasn't decided by the Securities Council, it's been not being done the way it's always been done, which means he's incompetent, doesn't know how to run his own office. Impeachment right there. I don't think you have anybody argue with that. You can't run the shop. You don't deserve to fucking have the keys to the doors. And lastly, Hillary Clinton. You can't be ashamed. Unless we are the stupidest freaking nation on the planet of the earth and are so dead in our souls and dumb in the head that, I mean, there's no way that Hillary Clinton is going to run in 2016. She's done. She tries to run. Somebody's going to say one thing. Excuse me, Miss Hopeful President, candidate person you? Hey, Benghazi. And say this line. What difference does it make? And then add this line. 4 dead American men. What difference did they make? According to her, none. If we elect her president, we are dead in our souls. I'm not. But this country is. Congressmen, you have the balls. We all need to have the balls to call the bullshit when it happens. The left is good at lying. They're subjectivists. There is no real truth to them. It's what they make it. Morality is relative. They're subjectivists. And because of that, that allows them to do things like lie. Do it well because they don't have anything to actually stand on. I mean, so they can actually be saying, yeah, I believe this, and they do believe it. You know why? Because it's what's in that moment, and they don't really have any real truth to apply or hold it to. And they become very convinced. They're very convincing liars. You have to cut through the subjectivist crap. And you do that by being that blatant and blunt. Calling the facts. Not worrying about offending people. Not worrying about, like, seeming overzealous. Be as zealous if you want, if the truth is on your side and you know it. And you have the moral rectitude to stand there without any doubt and no questions and all the rightness in the world and say, this is how it is and this is why. And it is an incontrovertible fact that this is so. And for you to say so is to deny the heavens, the stars, and the earth as it exists. And if you can do that, and look man and the rest of mankind in the eye, subjectivist that's trying to preach his shit that stands next to you, and the people have to look and pick, take your side. So you can't compromise that for anything. You can't say, oh, well, let's be a little easy about this, let's this or that. You have to stand there, firm, and not give in when people doubt you, because when he makes them doubt you, you have to voice yourself louder, restate the facts, and make your point. Compromise is the reason that we have lost so much in politics, and we are lost as a country. Compromise is a non sequitur in politics. For there to be compromise, the two opinions have to be equal. If I'm really going to compromise something, but still have my truth and my integrity intact, I have to give this up for something of equal value, another ideal or option in the moral standards of how I'm going to solve this problem that's of equal weight. But how can there be two things of equal weight when in this world there is only right and wrong, black and white, and things are not relative, they are universal and objectively there is truth. And subjectively, well, subjectively makes everything relative, and it's a lie. Stand firm. Talk about this. I know it's a long video. If you've watched this long, thank you for watching. I hope I've armed you with the facts, the power, the motivation to look at other people when you talk about this and tell them what has happened and what went wrong and who made those mistakes and how did they cost us in integrity around the world, in lives, and our sacred honor. We elected Obama. I did not vote for that man. I would never ever support him, but no, I take responsibility for him being in office. I didn't speak loudly enough. I did not tell enough people of the evil he represents. I did not make clear enough to everybody I met the danger that he perceives. And it's my fault for not making enough of a difference. You say, oh, it's not your cross to bear, but don't be so hard on yourself. We have to own the things around us. This is our country. Own it. What happens here is all of our responsibilities. No matter if you agree with him or not. If you don't support him. You do everything you can to stop them. Especially this man. Collectivist, subjectivist. Leftist. Be honorable people. Stand on the truth. Do not let them, even when they lie and people jeer at you for what you say because they believe the lies, don't waver. There is power in honest defiance. C. Burns for USA. Chuck Burns for the USA. Signing out. Saying, don't ever compromise who you are. Your truth is your own. Stand with it because it is yours and you know it to be right. Remember, in the fight that we are in, the people that are against us want your soul. They want your truth. They want you to compromise it so that their objective, that they can make it subjective, part of their subjective ideal. Just another thing that's a maybe and not real. They want to take your individuality. They want to take you and put you in with the mob. Make you all one that is the sum of many. And no man is a factor in any equation that garners a sum other than himself. I am, therefore I am. And I think, therefore I will reason. And through reason I will find my place in this world. I will find my answers. I will know the truth. Benghazi is a test. We can find the truth. We can cut through the bullshit. We can state our facts and our knowledge clearly, simply, and show this man for what he is, this murdering president we have. This is a test. Right now we're failing.